everybody, this is Brian with Mbmrc. Today we're going to be doing a review of the DX8G2 from Spektrum, which is, as most of you know, a Horizon product. Before I really get in the review, I kind of want to hit on why I ended up with this radio. I started out in the hobby with a DX6E, which I suggest to anybody looking to get into the hobby. Great radio. The thing that I like the most about it is it's got just about all the features that this thing here does. Less a few channels, less voice, does not have the rechargeable battery, but it is a great radio. If you're not sure whether you're you're going to spend a lot of money or time with it, I would definitely suggest getting the DX6E before you do anything else. However, I outgrew the DX6E. Just wanted some more features, wanted a couple extra channels and things like that. So I was going to go buy the DX6, and then the Taranis QX7 actually came out, and I was pretty hyped up about it. A lot of people seem like they like the Taranis line of radios, so I picked one of those up. Great radio. I realized when I bought that I had to have a radio with voice. That was never a huge thing with me because I never had it, but it's a lot better than sitting here looking at the screen constantly trying to figure out how much time you got left on the timer. Telemetry, it's nice. She'll come up, she'll say, hey, you got 10.3 volts left on your LiPo battery, that kind of thing. It's nice instead of constantly looking at the screen. So it also had vibration. I really like that with it, but the biggest problem that I had with that Taranis radio was there was no templates on it. Maybe the version of OpenTX that they're shipping out with it now, maybe it has some simple basic templates on it. The one that I had did not. I know that the Taranis X9D and the X9E, they both come with very basic templates for models, but the QX7 did not have that, and I was not at a point with skills yet to want to play with making templates and things like that. So I sold it. Ended up I want to get a DX6 again, so I went to pick one of those up. The hobby shop had this one on sale for around $240. Now typically this one here will run you roughly somewhere around $300 depending on where you go. They had it on sale for $240, which the DX6 is $200. So I thought, why not buy the DX8? The difference between the 8 and the 6 is you got this knob channel here. They added, I believe, 2 3-position switches, which were originally 2-position switches. They also gave you this nice lithium-ion battery pack. It's 2-cell, 200 milliamp, and it'll get you, I'd say, about a day and a half of good flying on that. Now, I do want to mention and just point out to those of you that are looking at this, if you're looking at this radio and you're just looking at that lithium-ion battery pack, all this is there's a 2-cell balance lead in here. The DX6 actually has the balance lead in it. So if you just want the battery, I definitely suggest just buying the DX6, and then I think that this battery runs you roughly about $40. So for about $240, you could end up with the same thing in essence. Also, I do want to point while I had the back up here, this is for the trainer mode, obviously. My DX6E did not have this. It was a wireless trainer, so I was a little bit confused when I first got this out of the box and seen this. This does, however, have wired and wireless trainer, so don't let that discourage you from buying this radio. I just kind of thought that it was odd that, I was used to looking at the back of the 6E, not seeing that, and knowing that it had wireless only. So, yeah, back to this thing. It's a great radio. It does have diversity, dual diversity on it. The 6E did not have that. That was the main reason I wanted to get a new radio, and take that step up from the 6E, was I wanted dual diversity, getting into more expensive planes and stuff, and I didn't want to lose them, so I wanted something with dual diversity, and that's what I ended up with. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. I've got some time on this. We didn't want to just take it out of the box and do a review on it, because we like to put some time on things before we review them. I would put everything back in the box and take it out, but you guys know what the inside of a radio box looks like, so we're not going to get into that today. The pros of this radio, definitely, it's a Spektrum, okay? It's really easy to program, and you're not going to get that with any of the open source software that's out there, be it Deviation or OpenTX. Those can be extremely difficult, especially somebody that's new in the hobby. The biggest thing with this is, you know, you get the Valiant, for example, is it's a Horizon model. You go on Horizon's website, you look up the Valiant, you download the model, you put it on an SD card on your desktop, you pop the SD card in here, you upload it to the operating system on the Spektrum, and everything is exactly as Horizon intended it to be. It does not get any easier than that. If you're flying a lot of the Horizon bind and flies, I definitely suggest, it doesn't have to be the 8, I suggest any Spektrum radio. Horizon does a really good job with their bind and flies, I think. I've got several of them, and I don't have any issues that I can really speak of with any of them. This Valiant, this is one of theirs. As you can see, it took hardly no trim. So that's something to be said. It's definitely a huge selling point of theirs. It's a great interface. It's very user-friendly. When I was talking about the templates earlier, I will show you real quick. I made this before I started the video just to kind of show you the ease of use of this. We're going to go ahead and go into aircraft type here. And what you're seeing right here on this screen is the templates that I was telling you about. Let's say that you have a V-tail aircraft. You go to tail, you hit V-tail. You're not going to get that on a open source transmitter. You will, but you're going to have to make that mix. You're going to have to make that template. And if you're just getting into the hobby, that's not something you're going to want to do. Every one of these you use. You're going to use all these if you're flying a lot of planes and stuff like that. Elevon. We actually have a couple planes that fly on Elevons, and I spent roughly 2 hours trying to come up with a way to write a mix in Deviation a couple weeks ago for Elevons. So having it right here at the tip of your finger is definitely a huge selling point for me. It doesn't get any easier than that. No, you lose some of the fine tuning with that, but I've never had any plane that I have that has to be tuned that finely that you have to go in and change what they have in this radio preset. Another huge thing is it's a quality product. You're spending, you know, you get what you pay for. If you're buying it from Horizon, you're going to spend right around $300. It feels like a quality product. It's heavy. You got some heft there. It's not too heavy, and it comes with a nice strap. It comes, like I said, with the battery. You're getting a really good product. It's got these nice rubber hand grips on the sides and on the back, and it just feels like it's worth $300. Some of the cheaper radios, or I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the more open source radios that I've had my hands on, it just doesn't seem to have the quality that a Spektrum product does. So to me, that's another huge selling point. Okay, so we've hit on the pros. I'm going to go ahead and hit on a couple cons that I have found with this radio. Honestly, the number one con for me with this thing is it's pricey for what you're going to get. Like I said, the DX6, honestly, for me, if you're not looking for the extra channel, you're not looking for a couple extra 3-position switches, you'd be better off probably going with the DX6 and just upgrading to the lithium-ion battery there. I mean, it's not extremely expensive for what you're getting, but to me it just seems like there's not that many more features on the 8 than there is the 6 to justify that $100 price jump. The other thing, it just seems to me like the voice doesn't actually get loud enough. That Tyrannus I had, I told you I was really impressed with the voice on it. The voice on this, I fly electric, so it's not a huge deal, but whenever my dad and my brother are back at the field, they fly glow. And I gotta be honest with you, I have a hard time hearing this thing whenever they're up in the air. Again, it's nice to know what your voltage is on your LiPo. It's nice to know how much time you got left on the timer, but it doesn't really do much for you if you can't hear it. The Tyrannus, I didn't have any problem at all hearing the speaker on it. And I do want to show you this also kind of as a con while we're talking about the speaker even. you turn the volume up 50% here on the volume seems to be about a sweet spot. You get any higher than that, the speaker almost breaks up like real crackly. I think they could have done a little bit of a better job with a more quality speaker in here. I'll show you what I'm talking about here.
Volume 100.
I don't know if you can really hear that, but it's really poor quality.
Volume 100.
They definitely could have done a better job with the speaker in this thing.
Volume.
That to me is a huge con. I really wish it would have been a little bit louder. And I told you I really like the vibration on the Tyrannus too. So when you're in the situation where you can't really hear that speaker, it's nice to kind of feel, you know, what's going on with it. Say a flight timer's counting down, you know, it vibrates every time or something like that. Those are a couple things that I do miss, and I wish that those were options on this thing, but they're not. The volume is just not loud enough. The speaker could be a little bit better quality, no vibration, and to be completely honest, now that I am, you know, kind of getting better with this thing, it would be nice to have a little bit more fine-tuning. I mean, you can pick your switches, you can set delays for flaps and things like that, but you get more fine-tuning with an open-source product like a Tyrannus or the Jumper T8SG that just came out. So it's really all personal preference when it comes to radios. With as many bind and flies that I use, I'm definitely going to be sticking with this thing. Like I said, Horizon does a great job with their bind and flies, and they do a phenomenal job with their radios too. So I'm going to be sticking with this thing for a while, I would assume. I hope that you guys would be interested in picking up something from the Spektrum line, especially if you fly a lot of Horizon stuff. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Yeah, don't forget to hit like and subscribe below there. And like I said, any questions, thoughts, or comments, feel free to put them below. Hope you enjoyed the video, and there's going to be more to come. Thanks a lot.